A new piece of evidence in this case. Can it solve the mystery? The mystery we're diving into today. None other than the legendary D.B. Cooper.
What's fascinating about this case is that despite decades of investigation and countless theories, it remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in commercial aviation history.
It really captures the imagination, doesn't it? This isn't just about a daring skyjacking. It's about a man who seemingly vanished into thin air with $200,000. Let's rewind back to 1971, November 24th to be exact. Picture a Boeing 727 at Portland International Airport, getting ready for a routine flight to Seattle.
Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305. Our main character, a man calling himself Dan Cooper, boards, wearing a business suit, sunglasses, and carrying a briefcase. Nothing out of the ordinary, at least not yet.
Right. It's shortly after takeoff that things take a dramatic turn. Cooper passes a note to a flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. Now, she initially brushes it off, thinking it's just a phone number. But Cooper leans in and whispers, "You better look at that note. I have a bomb."
A chilling statement delivered with an unsettling calmness. That's how Cooper seizes control of the situation.
And his demands are incredibly specific. $200,000, all in $20 bills. Not tens, not 50s, but 20s. He also wants 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle.
That detail about the 2 sets of parachutes is particularly intriguing. It suggests he was planning to take a hostage and wanted to ensure he wouldn't be given faulty equipment by authorities. A cunning move, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So the plane lands in Seattle, as instructed. Passengers are released. The ransom is delivered. And Cooper, still keeping the crew on board, lays out his next move. He wants to fly southeast towards Mexico City at a low altitude and slow speed.
And there's evidence suggesting Cooper wasn't just blindly navigating. He pointed out Tacoma from the air to the crew, indicating a familiarity with the region.
Adding another layer to this mystery man. Okay, so now we're in the air again, flying towards Mexico City. The tension must have been palpable.
You can imagine. And then, somewhere between Seattle and Reno, under a cloak of darkness and a raging storm, Cooper makes his move. He instructs the crew to lower the aft stairs, and then with the plane still in flight, he jumps.
It's a scene straight out of a Hollywood thriller. A dark and stormy night, a daring escape, a man vanishing into thin air. What happened next?
Well, as you can imagine, a massive search operation was launched. Hundreds of agents combing the woods, planes scouring the flight path, but Cooper, along with most of the ransom money, was gone, completely vanished.
It's baffling. Did he survive the jump? Did he have an accomplice waiting on the ground? Was it all meticulously planned?
Those are the questions that have haunted investigators and armchair detectives for over 5 decades. And to make things even more intriguing, Cooper left a few things behind on the plane. A tie clip and 2 of the parachutes. One of the parachutes had been opened, and some of the shroud lines, the cords that connect the canopy to the harness, were cut.
Intriguing clues, but not enough to crack the case. Over the years, the FBI investigated over 1,000 suspects. 1,000. It shows just how captivating this story is.
It speaks to the enduring power of mystery. Some suspects stood out, like Ted Braden, a Vietnam War veteran and skilled parachutist who is rumored to have been involved in some shady business dealings. Then there's Richard Floyd McCoy Jr., another skyjacker, who pulled off a remarkably similar stunt just a few months after Cooper's jump.
But a similar style doesn't necessarily make him the culprit. What about the physical descriptions?
That's where things get tricky. McCoy's physical description doesn't perfectly match the witness accounts of Cooper, and there were other discrepancies in their methods. The FBI needed more than just a similar MO to pin this on McCoy.
Of course. And the investigation continued delving deeper into the lives of countless individuals.
Another name that emerges is Kenneth Christensen, an experienced paratrooper who actually worked for Northwest Orient Airlines, and interestingly, he bore a striking resemblance to the composite sketches of Cooper.
It sounds like they had a pool of potentially interesting individuals. What about the physical evidence? Did any of it point to a particular suspect?
Well, let's go back to those items Cooper left behind, specifically that tie. Years later, scientists examined it and discovered traces of something very specific: rare earth elements.
Hold on, rare earth elements. Those aren't exactly common, are they?
Not at all, and that's where it gets really interesting. The presence of these elements suggested that Cooper might have worked at Boeing, or at least in a related industry. Remember, this was the early 70s, and these elements were not widely used outside of specialized fields like aerospace manufacturing.
So, could Cooper have been a disgruntled Boeing employee with inside knowledge of the 727? It's a compelling theory.
It certainly is. And then in 1980, almost a decade after the hijacking, another twist emerges that reignites public interest in the case. A portion of the ransom money is discovered.
Wait, they found some of the money? After all those years?
It's true. A young boy playing on a riverbank along the Columbia River stumbles upon 3 bundles of $20 bills buried in the sand, a total of $5,800.
That must have sent shockwaves through the investigation. How did the money get there? Was it washed downstream? Did Cooper stash it there in return for it? It opens up a whole new set of questions.
Precisely. And speaking of new questions, remember that new lead we mentioned at the beginning?
The one that might finally solve the mystery. I'm all ears.
Well, it turns out this new lead is connected to Richard McCoy Jr., that other skyjacker we discussed. Recently, after their mother passed away, McCoy's children came forward with some intriguing family evidence. They claim to have found a parachute that they believe belonged to their father. And get this.
They think it could be the parachute used in the Cooper hijacking. That's a bombshell.
It certainly throws another wrench into the works of this already incredibly complex case. The title of the news was Siblings Unravel Mystery of D.B. Cooper with Family Evidence.
Wow, what a twist. Before we jump into that, I want to remind everyone listening to like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives like this one. And let us know in the comments what you think happened to D.B. Cooper. Okay, back to this new evidence. This parachute, if it really belonged to McCoy, could be a game changer. Where do we go from here?
Well, it's important to remember that the FBI officially suspended the D.B. Cooper investigation back in 2016.
But that doesn't mean the case is closed, right? Not for those dedicated to uncovering the truth.
Exactly. For amateur sleuths and those who simply love a good mystery, the case of D.B. Cooper remains very much alive, and this new development is incredibly exciting for them. It's like a fresh lead in a cold case.
I can imagine. So tell me what makes McCoy's children so certain this parachute is connected to D.B. Cooper. Do they have any specific reason to believe their father was involved?
It's a bit of a family mystery passed down through generations. Apparently, after their mother passed away in 2020, they were going through her belongings and stumbled upon this parachute.
Hidden away like a secret. That sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does. And according to the children, their mother had always hinted that their father was involved in something big, something secretive. They claim she even alluded to the Cooper hijacking and other similar incidents.
Wow, it sounds like she was carrying a heavy burden, knowing or suspecting her husband might have been D.B. Cooper. Did she ever explicitly confirm it?
It seems she never did. Maybe she was protecting her family, or perhaps she didn't know the full truth herself. But regardless, it must have been a lot for the children to process, finding this parachute and then connecting it to their father's past.
Absolutely. It's a complicated situation, to say the least. So what happens now with this new evidence? I mean, the FBI isn't actively investigating the case anymore, right?
That's right. However, this new development has definitely caught the attention of researchers and those who have been following the D.B. Cooper case for years. They're eager to examine the parachute, compare it to the descriptions from the Cooper hijacking, and see if it matches.
That makes sense. Are there any experts out there who might be able to definitively say whether this parachute is the one Cooper used?
There are actually a few individuals who were involved in the original investigation who are still around today. One name that comes to mind is Grider, a parachute expert. He actually discovered a backpack and parachute back in 1978 that he believed to be Cooper's.
Oh, wow. Was he able to confirm that it was Cooper's?
Unfortunately, no. Despite its unique design, it was ultimately dismissed as unrelated to the Cooper case. But with this new parachute surfacing, Grider might be able to offer some valuable insights. His expertise could be crucial in determining if there's a connection to the Cooper hijacking.
So even though the FBI has officially moved on, the pursuit of the truth about D.B. Cooper continues.
Absolutely. It's fueled by the passion of researchers, experts, and those captivated by unsolved mysteries. They believe that with careful analysis and a bit of luck, this new piece of evidence could be the key to finally unraveling the enigma that is D.B. Cooper.
It's incredible how one event can continue to intrigue people for decades. So the big question remains, did Cooper survive that daring jump? Was he a skilled skydiver who meticulously planned his escape? Or was he an amateur who met a tragic end in the wilderness? Perhaps this new evidence will finally give us some answers.
It's a question that has haunted investigators, inspired countless theories, and captured the public's imagination for over 50 years. It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And with this new development, it feels like we might be one step closer to the truth.
What stands out to you the most about this case? For me, it's the sheer audacity of it all. This wasn't just a simple robbery. It was a carefully orchestrated performance, a disappearing act that has captivated the world for decades.
I think what's most compelling for me is the enduring power of mystery. Despite years of investigation, thousands of leads, and countless theories, the case of D.B. Cooper remains unsolved. And that's what keeps people coming back to it, trying to piece together the puzzle, hoping to one day find the missing piece.
It's like a puzzle that everyone wants to solve. And now, with this new development, a new chapter unfolds, a new piece of the puzzle is added. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could this finally be the breakthrough in the case? The clue that leads us to the truth about D.B. Cooper.
It's definitely a possibility. We'll have to wait and see what the analysis of this new parachute reveals. But one thing's for sure. The case of D.B. Cooper continues to fascinate and intrigue us, reminding us that some mysteries may never be fully solved.
It really makes you think about the human element of this whole story. Here's a man who, for whatever reason, decided to hijack a plane leap into the unknown and vanish without a trace.
And the people left behind, those who knew him or were connected to him, they're left to grapple with the consequences, the unanswered questions, and the weight of his actions.
It's like a ripple effect, isn't it? One man's actions sending shockwaves through the lives of so many others. It's a reminder that history isn't just about dates and events. It's about the people who lived through them, the choices they made, and the impact those choices had on others.
Absolutely. It highlights the human side of these events, the personal stories that often get lost in the bigger narrative.
So where do you land on all of this? Do you think Cooper survived that jump? Is he out there somewhere living under a new identity, maybe even chuckling to himself every time this case resurfaces in the news?
It's hard to say for certain. The evidence, even with this new development, is still largely circumstantial, but that's what makes this case so captivating, isn't it? It allows us to speculate, to explore different possibilities, and to draw our own conclusions.
And that's what keeps people coming back to it, that element of the unknown, the chance that someday, somehow, the mystery might be solved.
Exactly. The case of D.B. Cooper has become a part of American folklore, a modern-day legend. It continues to inspire books, documentaries, and countless theories.
And who knows, maybe someday, thanks to dedicated researchers, persistent journalists, or even a lucky break, we'll finally get a definitive answer. Until then, the mystery of D.B. Cooper lives on.
A reminder that sometimes the most captivating stories are the ones that remain unfinished. They invite us to engage our imaginations, to ponder the what-ifs and the maybes.
What a wild ride this deep dive has been. We've covered a lot of ground today, and there's still so much more to explore if you're as intrigued by this case as we are. We encourage you to check out the resources in our show notes. You'll find links to articles, documentaries, and even forums where fellow Cooper enthusiasts gather to share their theories and insights.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating topics just like this one, and be sure to leave a comment below letting us know your thoughts on the case of D.B. Cooper.
Do you think he survived? Who do you think he was? We'd love to hear your theories.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never lose your sense of wonder.
And remember, sometimes the greatest adventures are the ones that lead us into the unknown.